We're back. Back from vacation, and apparently the golf world decided to wait for nobody. Wyndham Clark just won the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. PGA Tour is already rolling in the Travelers Championship starting tomorrow. Of course, Scottie's a favorite again. We got a new PGA Tour structure coming in 2028. So tonight, Tee to Green is back. And Travelers preview, best bets, long shots, player fits, and yes, we will quickly hit the NBA chaos a little bit later. But first, let's get back on course. Welcome in, everybody. It's Off the Hook, sports talk that pays off, powered by Pikkit. Keep track of your crew, your bets, the line movements all in one place with Pikkit. And huge shout out to Natalie and everybody at Pikkit. Thanks for the Pikkit swag. It was waiting for me when I got home. That was a nice surprise, so thank you for that. Tommy Trends here with you on a Wednesday night. We're officially back from vacation mode. We take 2 weeks off, go to Cali, Vegas, back to Cali. Way too much food, way too much walking, a lot of miles, a lot of bad decisions. Kenny Chesney's show at the Sphere, Michael Jackson live show at Harrah's, 2 Dodgers games, a Shaq bobblehead. And apparently I bought too much shit that I had to buy another suitcase to get all my shit home. Now my girlfriend, on the other hand, won $1,600 at the Wynn in less than an hour. I managed to turn Vegas into a luggage expense. So clearly one of us understood how casinos work and the other one didn't. Great trip, but bad bankroll management on my part, especially at the suitcase counter. And while all that shit was happening, the Knicks won an NBA championship. Carolina lifted the Stanley Cup. We got a U.S. Open champion, Wyndham Clark. And the NBA draft is just about complete with round 2 underway tonight. But we are back tonight as a Tee to Green show. The main event, of course, is the Travelers Championship at TPC River Highlands. It gets underway tomorrow, so we'll go through the best bets, outrights, long shots, first-round leaders, course fit, course conditions, and the big question, can anyone stop Scottie? And then we'll take a look at Wyndham Clark winning the U.S. Open. How's he going to fare this week? The new PGA Tour structure for 2028. And later we'll go through the NBA drama, the Giannis to Miami draft recap. Packed show, mostly golf, no fluff. So tonight we're catching up on everything we missed, getting you ready for the rest of the week ahead. So what do you say we jump right into it, and we'll start off Travelers Championship preview for the Travelers Championship starting tomorrow at the TPC River Highlands. And Tee to Green is back tonight. We're going to go from one of the hardest tests in golf at Shinnecock Hills to one of the shortest, most gettable, most predictable golf courses on the PGA Tour schedule. That is the Travelers Championship at TPC River Highlands. It's the final signature event of the PGA Tour season. We got 72 players, no cut. And a $20 million purse plus 700 FedEx Cup points are on the line for the winner. Like I said, the question is pretty simple. Can anyone stop Scottie? I mean, of course, you know, Scheffler is going to be your favorite, like 4.5 to 1 to win it. But it's not, yeah, I mean, look, Scheffler tied for 4th at the U.S. Open. He won this event in 2024. He has 3 straight top 6 finishes at TPC River Highlands. So, and it's not just a Scottie conversation here tonight. Of course, his name's always in the mix. But we do have Wyndham Clark, who just won the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. He's won 2 of his last 4 starts, including the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. He finished the solo 3rd at the Memorial. So he's not just hot. He's on one of the best stretches of his career. And listen, you know, even while I was on vacation, I was able to peek in on golf, right? Try to unplug and recharge, so to speak, and just not deal with any news, any sports, any of that. It's hard. But I was watching golf here and there, keeping track on my phone as we were traveling. But Shinnecock Hills, we knew it was going to be a tough test for these guys, similar to Aronimink, right? And that's what you expect, right, for U.S. Open. And what's kind of funny is I was at the 2023 U.S. Open at LA Country Club, and Wyndham Clark won. And I'm back in California, and Wyndham Clark wins the U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills. Kind of weird, but There's mixed feelings on Wyndham Clark, right? Some people hate him, some people love him, some people could take it or leave it. But you can't deny the guy's on one of the best stretches of his career. Um, and I'll admit I banged on Wyndham Clark for destroying the locker room at Oakmont last year. You know, but again, it's emotions. Guys throw coolers and shit in other sports. Um, and he has apologized, and I think they even had Oakmont had some type of tournament where they made the trophy out of the mangled mess that he made of the locker as kind of a joke. So he did apologize, but you can't fault the guy for being emotional. And it was nice. His dad was there on Father's Day. It was a surprise. He had no idea his dad was coming, so his dad surprised him after he won. He is kind of a mental midget. He gets in his own head, and but he's playing one of the best stretches of his career, and you can't argue that. But just his story is incredible. Losing his mom when he was younger, and it's just him and his dad. So it was emotional. It was nice to see his dad surprise him there when he won. So Wyndham Clark on a little bit of a heater there, heading into the Travelers. So we'll see if he can get it done this week. And of course, Keegan Bradley, he's a defending champion after winning this event for the second time in 3 years. And, he's a New England guy. This event means a lot to him. Won in 2023, won last year in 2025, and now he's trying to defend that, which nobody has done at the Travelers since 2001, 2002. And then you got Xander Schauffele, who's like pretty much money to finish top 20 at a U.S. Open, which he did again. He's former winner here in 2022. And you got Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, Russell Henley, Colin Morikawa, Ludwig, Sam Burns, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose. The event is loaded, and we really don't give a shit that Rory isn't here. The guy's played, he hasn't played more than he's played this year, and frankly, I could care less. Whatever. Who cares he's not here? Apparently he's going to play next month at the Scottish Open before the Open Championship, but who cares? No Rory. The field is still loaded. That's what makes this event fun, though. It's week after a brutal U.S. Open. It's a signature event. Players love it. The fans show up. And the course always gives us drama here. Now, looking at the course, TPC River Highlands, this is one of the shorter courses that these guys are going to play on tour this year. So it is a par 70, a little over 6,800 yards. It's a Pete Dye design course. Pete Dye redesigned it in 82, and Bobby Weed renovated it in 89. Now, if you look at the key stretch of holes here, you're looking at 15, 16, 17, around that 4-acre lake. And that's where typically this tournament turns when you look at it historically. The 15th is a reachable par 4. And what's interesting with this hole is eagles and double bogeys are both in play here. The 16th is a par 3 over water where the wind can get weird and cause some problems for guys. And then 17 wraps around the lake and forces players to basically decide how aggressive they want to be with that hole. And then 18, you can give walk-off moments, playoffs, chaos here. Jim Furyk shot the lowest round in PGA Tour history. He shot a 58 here in 2016. Scoring is gettable. The scores are available here. It's not Shinnecock. It's not a grind. It's not a Ronimink. This is a sprint, though. The winning score has averaged about 17 under over the last decade. And since this has become a signature event, that number jumps even closer to 20 under. Now, Vegas has the winning score around 20 and a half under. And based on weather, the softness of the course, the number does make sense, right? So if you look at the weather, they got over an inch of rain on Monday. It rained again yesterday. More rain in the forecast, especially for Friday. And then you get gusts over 20 miles an hour in the afternoon on Friday. But overall, Wind does not look like a huge defense most of the week. Friday seems to be the worst of it. So overall, the course should be soft. Wind shouldn't be too much of a factor. And again, you have that short layout. There's no cut with this. So typically you would expect lines up for birdies, and not necessarily a birdie fest, but you will, these holes are gettable, and the scoring should be at a premium here. So, and if you're betting this event, you need guys who can get hot immediately, basically, is how this is. There's no easing into this tournament, right? If you shoot even par tomorrow, you might be dead, right? Because there is no cut, and you're probably already chasing at par. So the first 2 days are going to be a sprint to see who jumps out and who gets hot. So first round scoring is going to matter this week, and not just for first round leader bets, but for live betting, for outrights. You want players who open hot, because if the course stays soft and the weather gets a little weird later, if the wind does pick up or we get some more rain, being out front early is going to matter. So how do you win here, right? The course profile gets a little interesting because TPC River Highlands is short, and it's not a bomb and gouge type course. Now, bombers have won here in the past. Short accurate players have also won here. So it isn't one perfect prototype for this course. You need wedge, you need short iron control here. Interesting to note here, 65% of approaches come from 175 yards or less here. A lot of the shots come from 100 to 150 yards. So that means the approach play is going to be the starting point here. It's not about who can hit four iron into par fours like Shinnecock. This week is about who can give themselves a 36 plus good birdie looks and convert enough of them, right? And it's because the greens are small, so roughly 5,000 to 5,700 square feet, depending on how they have it set. But you're going to need precise approach here, precise approach play, and you also need to play from the fairway here. So historically, TPC River Highlands has one of the bigger penalties for missing fairways, but not always because you're immediately in the water or dead. It's just that penalty is you lose control, right? Once you get off the fairway. So if you're in the rough, you can't control the spin on these soft greens, right? So that's going to put you in a lot of problems early if you're errant off the tee. And on the course, where the winner may need 20 to 25 subpar scores for the week, pars are basically mistakes here because of the short course and soft conditions here. So that's really your key. At the U.S. Open last week at Shinnecock, pars saved you. At the Travelers, the pars can bury you and fairly quick. If you miss fairways, you're going to reduce your birdie chances, and if you reduce your birdie chances here, you're pretty much cooked. And then the other big piece here with this course is your play around the green. So TPC River Highlands is rated one of the tougher courses on tour to gain strokes around the green. So the lies around these greens are varied. You get short grass, you get the rough, you get weird collection areas and some spots where you're going to have to be creative, and that's going to matter. And that's one of the few defenses this course actually has. You're also going to need to putt well. So any event where a 15 is possible, and it's possible, your putting is going to matter every round. I still want the tee to green strength first, because putting is the least predictable skill, right? But you need guys with high putting ceilings here. And the bent grass POA surfaces here are going to play more like bent grass and not the bumpy West Coast POA greens. So when I look at this, some of the main stats are your strokes gained approach. Proximity is going to be from 100 to 150 yards. And then the par 4 scoring and your birdie or better percentage. Scrambling around the green is going to be huge. The bent grass putting, and some of these guys historically play better at Pete Dye courses. And the course history, because this course is one of the more predictable courses and tournaments that we see on tour. The guys who play well here tend to keep playing well here. Keegan Bradley, like we said, he won 2 of the last 3 starts here. Brian Harmon has 5 top 10s here, 7 top 10s in his last 8 starts at the Travelers. Patrick Cantlay, who plays slow as fuck, he has not finished outside the top 15 here in the last 18 years. This is pretty much money. It's almost like the Scheffler bet to finish top 20 in the U.S. Open. That's almost like an automatic cash. So Cantlay has not finished outside the top 15 here in the last 8 years. And then you got Justin Thomas. He has finishes of 3rd, 9th, 5th, and 9th the past 4 years. Scottie has three straight top 6 finishes. So you got the sticky course history. And when you combine the sticky course history with the recent form, the post-U.S. Open angle here, that's where your betting board is going to get interesting for this tournament. Because it's a mental and a physical handicap this week, right? That's a tough U.S. Open at Shinnecock. We knew it was going to be a tough test. So who's exhausted? Who's annoyed? Who was in contention at Shinnecock and now has to reset, right? Who missed the cut? Who got rest? Who had a solid week but didn't drain themselves emotionally? We see all types of profiles here win here after the U.S. Open. Bubba Watson won here after missing the cut at the U.S. Open. Keegan Bradley missed the cut in 2023 before winning the Travelers. So Chez Reavie, Harris English, both finished 3rd at the U.S. Open before winning here the following week. And Scottie tied for 41st at Pinehurst in 2024 and then won here in 2024. And that was his worst finish in like forever, tying for 41st, right? So there's no rule or, specific player fit or profile for this week. But you got to look at the emotional fatigue. Physically, are they fatigued from last week? Now, one example is Sam Burns, right? He came so close to fighting back. And Wyndham Clark admitted he played like shit Saturday and Sunday, and he opened the door for some of these guys to make a run. And Burns was right there. He came so close, won back. He had a putt on 18 that could have posted the winning score, missed it by inches. Still don't know how it doesn't go in. And now he comes here after finishing 2nd and 4th over the last 3 weeks. So Sam Burns is on a run, and he's playing very well. But again, it's the fatigue, the emotional, the mental fatigue, physical fatigue, and just the the runner up and then the 4th place finish. He's been right there. But some people are down on Sam Burns this week. I think he bounces back, and I think you see him play similar to how he's played the past few weeks. I like Sam Burns here this week, even though there's that fatigue, possibly the hangover from the U.S. Open and that runner-up finish. So that's really the betting question, right? Is how some of these guys are coming in after the U.S. Open, and obviously, like we said, Scottie is 4.5, 4-1 favorite, depending on what book you're looking at. So can anybody stop him? Yeah. But it's Scheffler, right? So it's number 1 in the world for a reason. First in FedEx Cup, first in birdie percentage, first in par 4 scoring, elite total driving, elite scrambling, elite on Pete Dye courses. He won here in 2024. So the problem is the price that you're getting him at. It's 4-1. It's a no-cut signature event here. He can absolutely win. It's just it's the price. It's a short number. But from a betting standpoint, you got to ask yourself whether you want to tie up your outright card at that number when this course gives so many players a shot here to shoot low numbers. We're talking low 60s. You might even see a 58, a 59. So, Scottie's definitely the measuring stick here. It might not necessarily be the bet. 4-1, okay. So, 4 times your bet. If he wins, okay, great. But again, might not necessarily be the best pick. And we talked about Wyndham Clark, right? He just won the U.S. Open, 2nd U.S. Open since 2023. He also won the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, solo 3rd at Memorial. 2 wins and 4 starts. You can't deny this guy's on a fucking heater. He's 11th on tour in strokes gained total. He's had two of his best Travelers finishes over the last two seasons, including tied for ninth in 2024. But the question here with Wyndham Clark is simple. Can he come down from Shinnecock emotionally and do it again? I mean, it's a lot. Sounds like it's not, but it is. You know, golf is mental. I mean, you hear these, everybody says it's 80, 90% mental. It's the 5 or 6 inches between your two ears. That's what's going to make or break it if these guys win or not, right? It's a mental game. So can he come down from that high? Can he reset and regroup after the draining U.S. Open at Shinnecock? You know, it's a lot of pressure on Wyndham Clark, but he's been playing well. It seems like he's dialed in, you know, and yeah, it's really a shame to see the fans last week at Shinnecock booing Wyndham Clark. I get it. He's paired with Scheffler, and they wanted Scheffler to win, to get the Grand Slam. I get it, but that's just, I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing? I mean, what the fuck are we doing booing a U.S. golfer at a U.S. Open? Shouldn't be booing anybody. Unless it's Rory. But, you know, I don't know if Wyndham Clark makes my card this week, but I think he is on a heater, and I think it's like we just said. It's how can these guys get off to a fast start? It's going to be a sprint these first 2 days, because if you're not in the mix by Friday, you're pretty much cooked, especially because this course is going to produce low scores. You know, these guys are going to have to get off to a hot start. So there's little room for error from the beginning here. And can Wyndham Clark reset and do it? We'll see. His game has said so over the past few weeks, but it's just a matter of can he get in the right headspace to do it. Now, then, Xander Schauffele, he's another one. He's a monster course fit here. He won in 2022, tied for 11th at Shinnecock, 10 straight top 15 finishes at the U.S. Open. That's just insane. Like I said, it's almost a sure bet that Schauffele is going to cash on U.S. Open top 20, top 15 tickets. So if you're looking for a safety net in finishing markets, Xander's pretty much always there. Right? He's just one of those guys where a top 20 ticket just feels boring to make that bet, but they keep cashing. So he keeps cashing, keep betting it, right? And then you got Tommy Fleetwood, always an interesting name on the board. You know, he had this tournament last year. He was the 54-hole leader, if you remember. And then he went 2 over across the final 3 holes, and Keegan Bradley stole it with that walk-off birdie. So is that come back and creep into Fleetwood's head? Can he reset here after blowing that lead? I mean, he blew a 54-hole lead. So he has unfinished business. Now, if he regroups and resets, Fleetwood's going to be in the mix. Now, he tied for 11th at the U.S. Open, and he gained strokes across the board. His last 3 finishes are 4th, 11th, and 11th. And Fleetwood's always a lead around the green. He's strong scrambling. He's good on par 70s. And this stretch of the schedule fits him, right? He was Travelers, and then the Scottish Open, and then the Open in his home area, Southport. So this feels like it could be one of those windows where if he's going to win, it's coming. And this might just be the week where Fleetwood, you know, takes care of that unfinished business from last year. And then we look at Justin Thomas. He's another one. Another interesting name here on the board. He tied for 17th at the U.S. Open. He closed with an under par round on Sunday, and his Travelers profile is strong. 3rd in 2016, 9th in 2023, 5th in 2024, and 9th in 2025. He's won on shorter courses. He's won on Pete Dye designs like Harbortown, TPC Sawgrass. And he's strong around the greens. So when his wedges and his putter shows up, this is exactly the type of course where Justin Thomas can go out and he can make a run at this thing. Colin Morikawa, I probably won't be betting him because every time I bet Morikawa, he shits the bed. But he fits this course. He might be one of the best pure fits actually on the board for this course. I can't do it because I feel like I jinx the guy when I bet him. Although, again, Morikawa does fit here well. So if you're not me, maybe Morikawa makes your list. I do like him. I can't bet him because every time I bet him, it doesn't even come close. Doesn't matter if I bet him as a first round leader, an outright, a top 20. It doesn't. He just shits the bed. Usually doesn't even make the cut. So I'm staying away from Morikawa. But I'm telling you, he fits the course. I can't do it. He fits it because of his fairway accuracy, his iron play, his wedge control. And that's his entire career. I mean, he's a perfect fit for this course. Now he has been dealing with back issues. So maybe some people aren't as high on him, but if you look at his game, it does fit. But then again, with his back issues, he recently had a kid. So people aren't as aggressive on him. So you get a better number with Morikawa. And I believe, let me take a look here. Morikawa for a first round leader is plus 3,400. And then as far as outright winner, he's plus 3,100. And if you're looking at Morikawa for, let's say, a top 5, he is plus 500. Top 10 plus 230. So, again, you're getting a little bit better number because recently, mainly the back issues, but his game fits his course. He was tied for 17th at Shinnecock, and he was on the first page of that leaderboard for much of the week at Shinnecock, which is a tough course. And around the green really cost Morikawa there. But again, Shinnecock's a tough course. Here at TPC River Highlands, the lies around the green are going to be different, and his wedge play plus his driving accuracy are exactly what you want at TPC River Highlands if you're going to go out and contend. So if he can get back into the winner's circle, this would be the logical place for Morikawa to do it. And then Patrick Cantlay, the slowest fuck player, he's another course history monster here at TPC River Highlands. Now, he missed the cut at the U.S. Open, but to me, that doesn't really bother me here. Keegan missed the cut before, like he said, in 2023. So sometimes missing the cut will give guys a reset for the following week. So him missing the cut doesn't really bear anything here. Like I said, if anything, kind of gives him a chance to reset and regroup heading into the Travelers Championship this week. So, and like we said before, Cantlay has never finished outside the top 15 here in the last 8 years. That's a ridiculous stretch. He plays slow as hell, and you can see that, especially, I love when Koepka plays with Cantlay, and you see it in the past, and he gets so frustrated because Koepka plays fast, and Cantlay plays so fucking slow. But again, Cantlay, his consistency here, again, never finished outside the top 15 here in the last 8 years. So it feels like a pretty safe bet to say top 20, top 15, top 10 finish here for Cantlay. So again, if you believe in that sticky course history here at TPC River Highlands, Cantlay's got to be in the mix in the conversation here. And then Brian Harman, he's got to be the ultimate horse here for this course. 5 straight top 10s at the Travelers, 8 top 10s in his last 11 appearances. He made the cut at the U.S. Open, finished tied for 32nd, but again, this course is much more Harman's speed. It's a shorter course, and his positioning off the tee here. Again, he does better at Pete Dye courses. He does well with bent grass POA. He played well at Sawgrass, Pebble Beach, Colonial, Harbor Town. So this is really in Harman's lane. Now, statistically, if you're looking at Harman, he might not jump off the page. If you only look at his recent approach over the last couple of weeks, but the long-term fit with Harman is obvious here as another guy to possibly contend and be right there on Sunday afternoon. And then Ludwig Oberg, he's around a 20-1. And again, this thing we keep saying with Ludwig is, can Can he get it done? He just can't seem to close. Again, his game fits here, but he can't seem to close. He finished tied for 17th at Shinnecock, closed with a 66 on Sunday. He gained across the board, and then he had strong results at Colonial, Harbortown, the Truist, the PGA Championship, TPC Sawgrass did well there. And we said his game fits this course. It's just he can't close. He's a lead off the tee. He's strong on his approach play. He's great on par fours. But the question is his scrambling and around the green. Now, if he puts it together for 4 straight days, he can win, but he's got to close. Another name that keeps getting disrespected is Aaron Rai. The price, like I said, keeps getting disrespected by these books. He won at Aronimink, tied for 11th at Shinnecock. And that's pretty strong. Playing Aronimink, which is a difficult course, and winning the PGA Championship, and then you go and tie for 11th at Shinnecock at the U.S. Open. It's a pretty good response after winning your first major a few weeks prior at 2 tough courses. So he's proven he's up to the test, these tough courses, and he's gained across all major categories last week. He's gained around the green, and his ball striking profile fits this course very well. He's also number 1 in the field over the last 20 rounds on 400 to 450 yard par fours. Number 1 in the field over the last 20 rounds on 400 to 450 yard par fours. So that's really the real stat this week for Aaron Rai. I mean, he won at Sedgefield, played well at John Deere. He was third at Oakdale. I mean, those courses matter, and how he finished. And then you look at another player, Eric Cole. He is a type of long shot here that makes sense if you want birdies. I mean, just look at how he's been playing. He's been playing excellent golf for really like the past 3 months. Over the last 20 rounds, these are the numbers for Eric Cole. He ranks top 15 in approach, around the green proximity, and he's number 1 in birdie or better percentage. Eric Cole, over the last 20 rounds, ranks top 15 in approach, around the green proximity, and he's number 1 in birdie or better percentage. So that's really the kind of ceiling that you need here at TPC River Highlands. The issue is his volatility, right? We saw it in Canada, first round leader, and then he missed the cut. But there's no cut this week, so that matters. But in a no cut event, I'm more willing to take volatility if that birdie ceiling is real, and it is with Cole. Now, another one you're going to say, who the fuck? Jackson Suber. A lot of people are going to say, who the fuck is that? So he is really a dark horse here at 200 to 1. And I get it. But sometimes you throw a little pizza money on some of these long shots, and you never know. But Jackson Suber, I'm going to make the case for Jackson Suber if you like a long shot here. He missed the cut at Shinnecock, but recent form had been excellent with 2 top 5 finishes in his last 4 starts. He was in the lead late Sunday in Canada, and it got away from him. So he has strong recent stats, smaller field, no cut. If you want to throw a dart at somebody, he's shown enough upside to at least discuss it and throw his name in the hat for a long shot here at 200 to 1. And then another deeper number is Ryan Gerard, 4 runner-up finishes since last December. Missed the cut at the U.S. Open, but he was runner-up at Memorial, 10th at Colonial, and also runner-up to Scottie earlier this year at the American Express, which is another Pete Dye designed course. So at a place where Pete Dye history matters, I don't hate Ryan Gerard here. I'm just saying those are 2 long shots if you want deep numbers on the betting board. So again, let's look at the history here at the Travelers Championship. We said Keegan Bradley won it last year at 15 under. Scheffler in 2024 at 22 under in the playoff over Tom Kim. Keegan won it again in 2023 at 23 under. And then Xander in 2022. Harris English 2021. Dustin Johnson 2020. Chez Reavie, Bubba Watson, Jordan Spieth, who apparently might be switching to a lab putter this week. I saw a photo earlier today that a lab putter was spotted with Scheffler, with Spieth in his bag. So we'll see if Jordan Spieth makes the switch to Lab. We said his putt, I give Jordan Spieth a lot of credit. He's been loyal to his caddy, loyal to his coach, but his putting's been getting the best of him. So maybe the switch to a Lab putter will do it for him. But again, we'll see tomorrow what he uses. But there was a photo taken, I believe it was earlier today. It was either yesterday or today. Practice round, him with a Lab putter in his bag. So we'll see what Jordan Spieth can do here. So the list of names does tell you a few things. The Stars can win here. Course horses can win here. Longshots can win. Bombers can win. Accurate players can win. But if you look at almost all of them, they either had elite approach weeks, elite putting, or both, right? So that's really the formula. When you look at this with the Travelers Championship here at TPC River Highlands, you don't need to overpower this place. You need to score. You need to hit your wedges close. You need to handle that closing stretch of holes. We said at 15, 16, 17, 18. And you need to avoid that one mistake that can kill a round, because at the Travelers, a 65 is good, but, that 65, could have been a 63, right? And when 20 under-ish is the target or what's expected, every mistake matters. So, a bogey or a double, right? That's going to matter here. And it's like we said, the guys can start out, it's a sprint these first two rounds. Even though there's no cut, historically, when you look at it, the guys who start fast are the guys who are in the mix on the weekend, head into Sunday, where if you're shooting par tomorrow, you might already be 5-6 strokes behind, maybe even more, because you're going to see low scores, especially if the course is softer. You're going to see it. So we'll see how that plays out. So again, as far as a betting profile for this week, and again, the final card will be posted on our X page at OTH Sports Pod. Probably be posted either later tonight or early tomorrow. The first tee time is 8:15. Ryan Fox and McCarty are the first group off, and then Tom Hoagie and Jackson Suber at 8:25. Minwoo Lee and Nikolai Hogo at 8:35. So let's say late tonight, early morning, our final card will be posted on our X page at OTH Sports Pod. And then you can also tail us on Pikkit. And if you're not using Pikkit, what are you doing? You can track us there, follow verified bets on Pikkit, download the app, and put in code OTH and follow along with us on Pikkit. But it'll all be posted before the tee times fire off tomorrow. So that way, if you want to tail us and bet where we're betting, you'll be able to see it. And like I said, we're transparent with everything here. And that way you can see we're not coming on here saying we're 80% winners, or you can see our picks. They're all on Pikkit. They're all verified on our X page. So we'll make sure those are posted for you. So again, if you're looking for the betting profile this week, I'm looking for players who can get hot immediately. I want approach and wedge control here. Strong par 4 scoring. Birdie makers, obviously. And the history with Pete Dye courses and how they've historically played at the Travelers does matter for this week. So I'm also looking at that, and I want around the green competence, because these small greens can still create problems for these guys. And I want players who either weren't totally trained by the U.S. Open or are coming in with positive momentum. So again, some of the names I keep coming back to are Fleetwood. Listen, I'm not betting Morikawa, but Morikawa is a name that does fit this week, but I won't be betting him. Fleetwood, Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Harmon, Ludwig, Aaron Rai, Eric Cole, Ryan Gerard, Patrick Cantlay. And I also said I do like Sam Burns bouncing back this week. Even though others say they think it's going to be a letdown week for Sam Burns, I think Burns does bounce back this week. If he doesn't win, I do think Sam Burns gets at least a top 10 finish. So I do like him. Obviously, Scheffler, of course, he's going to be in the mix. I'd be shocked if he's not. But this tournament makes for good live betting, especially when you see how players start off tomorrow. But it's not always about identifying the most likely winner. I mean, we all know Scottie is probably the most likely winner here, but it's what number gives you value, right? And again, Scheffler is at the top. There are some playable numbers in that 20 to 1, 70 to 1 range. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play this course and who has the U.S. Open hangover or letdown and who can regroup and reset for this week. Again, the final card will be posted on our X page at OTH Sports Pod before the tournament gets underway tomorrow morning. So make sure you look out for that. And we also have another big topic amongst the PGA Tour. It's the proposed new competitive structure beginning in 2028. So these are the big picture changes. Just kind of give you a Cliff Notes version of what's happening. A lot of stuff is still in the works, so still trying to figure things out. Don't know why they trotted out Tiger Woods to make this fucking announcement. I don't want to see Tiger Woods anywhere near the fucking PGA. I'm so sick of the guy. I'm sick of the bullshit with Tiger Woods. Dude, just right off in the sunset. And I'm tired of seeing Tiger Woods at PGA press conferences. Just fucking go away. But anyway, these are the proposed changes for the new PGA Tour structure taking place in 2028. So you have the Championship Series and then the Challenger Series. The postseason will be different. You have this match play component. And I do like the rotation of these historic Tour Championship venues. Now, hopefully they pick the right ones. Like Aronimink should be on there. Marion should be on there. And then at minimum, you have the top 90 players in season-long points race will retain their PGA Tour Championship Series status. And as far as the Championship Series, they're saying 23 to 24 total events, 120 player fields made up of obviously the best players. And then you have 72 hole stroke play, 36 hole cut, at least $20 million in purses for those events. Then you look at the Challenger Series, 20 total events, 144 player fields, and then the 72 hole stroke play, 36 hole cut, and $4 million in purses. And then you do have the promotion and the relegation. So minimum, the top 90 players retain their status in the Championship Series, and then at least 20 players from the Challenger Series can earn a promotion. Two-time winners on the Challenger Series will earn immediate promotion to the Championship Series, and then they're still trying to finalize some of the other eligibility criteria with that. So going back to the 23 to 24 events, so that includes the players, the majors, the season-ending events, and the team events like the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. So your season would run roughly February through August. These events would be, like I said, mostly 72-hole stroke play events with the 36-hole cut, top 65 in ties, around 120 players, and then at least a $20 million purse. And then we said that new postseason that has the retention and the relegation part mixed in. So as far as that goes, recognition for season-long points leader and potentially match play in the postseason, which is a great thing for, I feel. You need more consequence here. Guys need something to play for. If you want people to care in August, then there has to be real pressure, right? So this rotating tour championship across these prestigious courses also, to me, sounds like a lot better way, than ending in one place forever, right? Like, so this rotation of these courses to end the season, I like that. I don't know, to me, just makes it more interesting. And then when you look at the PGA Tour Challenger Series, so that's going to run alongside the Championship Series, at least 20 events, and 7 of those would be elevated during off weeks for more exposure and consequence there. So these events would have fields around 144 players, purses of at least $4 million, and they also would have fall events, right? So, which to me, I like that part of it, right? So you got the 2 tracks here: an elevated international events with top players potentially in partnership with the DP World Tour, and then a last chance series of 4 to 6 events with limited spots available for next season's championship series. And again, a lot of this stuff is, they're still putting the pieces together. Obviously, the courses are going to play and how that's going to pan out. They're still trying to figure all that out. So we'll see what happens there. More to come from that structure. And what they're doing with this new setup in 2028. Overall, I think it's a good thing. I think you need a cleaner structure. Is it perfect? No. Is anything perfect? No. I think it's better than what they have. It makes the weeks more meaningful. You get more of these star players together more often, which is obviously good for viewership, good for the casual fan, the casual bettor. And you get these fall events, which makes fall golf events matter more. Now, again, you have this obvious risk, right? You don't want to create a closed shop. The same guys are protected forever. But if they truly build in this retention and this relegation and this challenger pathway, then you create these stakes for these guys, which makes things a lot more interesting. And outside the majors, I feel like golf needs these stakes to keep it interesting, right? And have more skin in the game. So, a lot of people say scarcity is bad. I don't think this is scarcity. I think it's just clarity and trying to define the tour and where it's moving toward. Again, it's not going to be perfect. But in my opinion, from what I've read and what I've heard, it's going to be better than what it is now. And then they can modify it and change it from there. But again, it's going to give, I just think, more eyes on the sport that normally wouldn't be there. Which is always a good thing. And I think Brian Rolap is going to do a lot of good things for the PGA Tour. I wasn't a fan of Jay Monahan, so I'm glad he's fucking gone. And I think when you get, now that Rolap is starting to put his fingerprints on everything, he's made a lot of changes in the short time that he's been there. So I think it's good for the game. It gives the fans a top series. It gives these younger and lower ranked guys a real pathway, right? Now fall events have a purpose. The postseason format is actually going to feel different, better product. So we'll see. More to come on that, and we'll keep you guys updated on any new events or any updates that the PGA Tour rolls out. They'll be on here on our X page at OTH Sports Pod, but a lot of good stuff to come, I feel, on the PGA Tour. Now, like I said, is it perfect? No. But they're still ironing out some of the final details. So that's kind of like the Cliff Notes overview of this, and more to come on that. But as far as the travelers, again, it's not going to be Shinnecock where every mistake was punished at Shinnecock. So at TPC River Highlands, your aggression is going to be rewarded, so guys can get aggressive here. And like we said, the winner is probably going to flirt with around 20 under or even better. And we said the first 2 rounds are going to be a sprint here. And if the weather stays soft, you better have guys who can stack birdies in bunches with these soft conditions. So again, like we said, the big question, can anyone stop Scottie? Yes, but you got to start off fast here because it's like we said, if you're shooting par in an opening round, you're probably already a handful or more strokes behind. Scottie opens with a 64. Everybody else might be chasing the wrong guy because you don't want to get behind if Scheffler comes out and fires off a low round to start this thing. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. And again, our official card will be posted on X at OTH Sports Pod. You can also check it out on Pikkit. We're also on there. All the verified picks will be there for you to check it out. So that being said, we'll right along into the chaos that is the NBA. And second round of the draft is probably just about over now. But first round was last night and had one of the wildest 48-hour stretches in years. With obviously Giannis going to the Heat, Pat Riley pulling off his magic yet again. Like we said, the draft is just about wrapping up, and already a lot of rumors flying around the league. Dusty May going from Michigan to Dallas Mavericks. a lot of chaos in the NBA. But if you look at the biggest winners in the draft or draft week, obviously the Heat, they've been looking for those superstars. So now you got Giannis and Bam, probably one of the league's best defensive duos. So Miami's moving from that play-in team back into contender conversation again. Still some holes to fill, but a big win for Pat Riley and the Heat. But the biggest questions here, what's their championship window? Is it only 2 to 3 years? And is the supporting cast good enough to contend with this Knicks team? Because it looks like the Knicks are trying to bring back just about everyone from this past year's team. So we'll see if Miami can make a run here. If you look at some of the biggest losers, obviously Milwaukee had to move on. It was inevitable. But now they didn't land a true franchise centerpiece here, and the rebuild for the Bucks officially begins now. And then you got the Boston Celtics. What a fucking mess that team is. He swung and missed on Giannis, and now again, Jaylen Brown's name was floated around in trade rumors. They're still trying to shop the guy, and if you can't move the guy, how awkward is that going to be bringing him back? To me, it's just a bad situation. So I feel like they got to move Jaylen Brown. That's just going to be awkward. And then some of these other winners from the draft, I'll tell you what. Personally, if I had to pick the winner of the draft last night, Memphis Grizzlies. The only thing Memphis has to do is they got to fix the Ja Morant situation. Now, I don't know what you do with him. But the Memphis Grizzlies, in my opinion, won the draft yesterday. I mean, to me, Cameron Boozer was the best player, and you got him at 3. Now, some are going to argue that the band said, well, he went 1. No. If you look at the way the Bansa played down the stretch at BYU, I didn't like that. Darren Peterson, everyone's banged on Peterson because of him pulling himself out of games. Is the guy really committed? Is he lazy? Does he take plays off? Right. Interesting. Carlos Boozer is like head of the draft team or whatever for the Utah Jazz, and you pass on your own fucking kid and take Darren Peterson. I don't know how. I'll tell you what. Family dinners and holidays are going to be weird as fuck. In that household, how do you pass on your own kid? To me, and not being a biased Duke fan, but Boozer was the best player, in my opinion. Well, Darius Acuff is right there too. So you say 1A, 1B, and Acuff got disrespected. I think a couple of years from now, people are going to be talking about Darius Acuff and how teams missed on him. How the fuck does Darius Acuff drop to 7th? Well, we said it during the college basketball season that Darius Acuff is probably the best player in college basketball, and somehow he slips to 7th. The Sacramento Kings were players. The Sacramento Kings are like the New York Jets of the NBA. Players' careers go to die in Sacramento, so hopefully he can get the fuck out of there faster than he can say boo. But Darius Acuff somehow slips to 7th, who I thought him and Boozer were the best players in this draft. Again, should DeBansta have gone first? I don't know. I don't agree with Darren Peterson at number 2. If you look at this list here, Boozer, Wilson, Wagler, Mikel Brown, Acuff, Morez Johnson. To me, those players, hell, you can even argue Yaxel Lindenborg is better. There's a lot of question marks with Peterson and his commitment. It's kind of like the Manny Machado of basketball, where he just takes plays off. And he's definitely got the skills, but is his head there? Is he committed? And then again, it's Utah. I don't know. But I feel like the Grizzlies were the outright winner of this draft. Now, some would argue that Utah, if Peterson plays to his potential, Because scouts had him ranked number 1. I get it. He could be the franchise cornerstone, but if he's a fucking flop, well, then Utah is a sure loser. But again, if he plays his potential, they're another winner of this draft. The Chicago Bulls, actually, I feel, are another big winner, especially with Caleb Wilson, Dalen Swain. They're young, they're athletic, and you see this roster now beginning to take shape for the Bulls. Then you have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Adai Mara, Bennett Sturts. They just, somehow they did well for themselves again in the draft. What's interesting too is Dusty May taking Morris Johnson Jr. Now, he had all 3 of those Michigan guys on the table, right? And his choice was Morris Johnson Jr. It tells you a lot. And reading some things and some insights of that Michigan team is rumor has it that Morris Johnson was the glue who kept that team together when they were down, when they were getting stretches where, they'd go through dry spells and couldn't hit shots. That Morris Johnson Jr. was the nucleus that held that team together. So that does tell you a lot that Dusty May took Morris Johnson Jr. at 9 with the Mavericks. So that'll be interesting to see how he pairs with Cooper Flagg. But again, it just tells a lot that all 3 of his top guys were on the board, and he took Johnson at 9. My Detroit Pistons shit the fucking bed. Who the fuck gets you take a guy from Stanford. Look, and I get his numbers were tops in the ACC and all this shit, but I don't think of Stanford as a basketball powerhouse. And then you trade Kareem Lopez to the Grizzlies. So again, that's where I see Memphis as a winner. They got Boozer at 3, Kareem Lopez. They picked up 5 future second rounders by trading down. And talk about excellent asset management for the Grizzlies. That Grizzlies team, like I said, they got to figure out the Ja Morant situation. And if you bring him back, where's his head at? Is he going to be a knucklehead? Is he going to play? Because the Ja Morant, before he started spraying the gun all over, was a great player. And then got a little weird, and rest is history with him. But this Grizzlies team could be fun to watch as long as they figure out this Ja Morant situation. But my Pistons, I feel like they shit the bed here. We're drafting a fucking Stanford player. Sixers interesting with LeBaron Filan Jr. To me, they got to move on from Embiid. That's just, they're like 5 years too late moving on from Embiid, but we'll see. I would have loved the Pistons to take Tyrus Reed. How the fuck he falls to 26 and ends up in San Antonio is fucking beyond me. I also would have liked the Pistons to take Koa Pete, and they didn't take him either. Koa Pete slips to 30 and ends up in Phoenix. I like Koa Pete. Pistons could even take in Joshua Jefferson. Anybody but Okori from fucking Stanford. But whatever. Some other couple draft notes here. 9 of the top 10 picks were college freshmen. First 20 picks all came from college. First time since 94. Michigan had 3 lottery picks, obviously after winning the national championship. And the Big 12 dominated here. 9 first-round picks, 4 top 10 selections. Some big surprises here. Again, we talked about Morris Johnson Jr. going to Dallas. Dusty May taking him. Out of all the Michigan guys he could have taken, the 3 were on the board. He took Johnson. Like we said, Johnson apparently was the nucleus that held that team together. And interesting to see how he fits with Cooper Flagg. The Hawks, some feel that Kingston Flemings was a reach with that. So we'll see how he pans out in Atlanta. And then the Knicks, your champion New York Knicks, for the first time since 1973. They never actually drafted. They just kept trading down repeatedly and added 5 second-round picks for flexibility. Again, their focus is bringing back this team to run this thing back next year. Going to be a little bit tougher with Giannis in Miami with Bam. I think you see a drop off from Boston, especially if they move on from Jaylen Brown. So I don't know. Knicks could run it back. It's going to be a little bit tougher for them, but they didn't really do anything in the first round. So, and then you got some of your early Rookie of the Year favorites, obviously Darren Peterson, DeBanza, Cam Boozer, and I'm telling you, Darius Acuff. I mean, listen, love him or hate him, Calipari has coached some of the best players in college basketball. And he even said probably the best player, or one of the best players he's coached was Marcus Camby. But he's coached big men, he's coached guards. And he kept, the coach telling you that Acuff is the guy. I mean, this guy's coached tons of great players. And he's telling you that Acuff is the guy, and the guy slips to 7th. So I'm feeling there's going to be a lot of people regretting they didn't take Acuff. I could see Acuff going 1 to Washington, but they didn't want him. They wanted DeBanza. I could have also seen him going to the Jazz, which would have been a better pick. I like what the Grizzlies did with Boozer. But again, for Acuff to slip to 7th is just mind-blowing when I thought he was the best player in college basketball. So we'll see how these rookies develop. Summer League coming up in a few weeks in Vegas. But obviously the big story is Giannis in Miami and what that does to the Eastern Conference. The Knicks, defending champs, are they going to be able to run it back? And then you got major questions there in Boston with Jaylen Brown. So the East definitely got a little bit more interesting there for sure. So we'll see how these guys develop. But, I feel like these guys are, this whole first round of guys, they're pretty much proven players, even some of these foreign players. I just feel like these guys aren't scoring or averaging 8-9 points a game. These guys are putting up numbers. So it's going to be interesting to see, again, except for that Pistons pick, taking a Stanford player. What a complete fucking bust that is. Whoever, I don't know. I'd love to know who I don't know. I'd love to know who was on their fucking board. I mean, you just look at guys who went after him that they could have taken. In my mind, like I said, Tyrus Reed would have fit well in Detroit. And you could have maybe moved on from Jalen Duren and had Tyrus Reed in there. And Alex Caravan, for fuck's sake, he's not going to be, lighting it up. But you know what you get with Caravan? He's going to be a solid player. I don't know. I hate what the Pistons did. But, so that's a little wrap up on the NBA first round there. So we'll see what comes of that. If these guys develop and who's a bust and who's not. But I'm telling you, Darius Acuff Jr., I think a lot of teams missed on him, and we'll see what happens. Pikkit play of the day. Now, it is posted on our X page at OTH Sports Pod. Obviously, this game is underway. It's MLB play today. Took the Giants money line against Oakland tonight. Again, this was posted before game time on our X page at OTH Sports Pod. Gage Jump has been impressive since coming up through 5 starts. He's sitting with a 2.37 ERA. He's limited in hard contact, and his hard hit rate is under 30%, which is outstanding. He also has a chase rate over 36%, which puts him near the top of the league for that. So even though the strikeouts haven't fully popped off yet, the profile makes sense. He's getting hitters to expand. He's creating weak contact, and expected numbers back up his early success. But it's still a young arm with a small sample, and I feel like tonight was a different kind of matchup. So, and this Giants team just doesn't give you free punch outs, right? They've shown some pop. They match up better against this type of pitcher, probably than the market was giving them credit for, which is why I jumped on this here. plus money at the money line. Now, also the Giants, they profile well against fly ball arms, and Jump has more of that aerial profile here. So if the Giants can put the ball in play and avoid chasing, they can put pressure on him for sure. And now Tyler Mahle, yeah, his numbers are fucking ugly, especially on the road. But it's not a road start, so he is at home at Oracle Park, and at home is much more playable for his numbers: a 3.90 ERA and 6 starts with the Giants, 1.27 WHIP, and the ballpark matters for him because it does help him limit the home run damage. That's the whole key here. Mahle, he's not someone I want in the wrong park against the wrong lineup, but especially with balls flying out. But here at Oracle Park, against an A's lineup that has struggled against ground ball pitchers, and they do come in a little bit cold, it's kind of a spot where he can be fine. He doesn't need to be dominant, just needs to keep the ball down, avoid a big inning. And the Giants offense do enough against a young lefty. So I like the market price there. It was part of the play. And getting the Giants around even money just feels suspiciously low given the matchup, the park, the fact that Mahle's home profile is much better than his overall numbers. So we're taking it as the Pikkit play of the day. It's Giants money line plus 104. And, I'd even would have played it to like minus 110. So a little late night MLB action from Oracle Park. So hopefully we can cash that. And end of the fifth, it's scoreless here. Nothing at Oracle Park. So we're still in play here to cash this Pikkit play of the day. And as always, we are powered by Pikkit here. Use Pikkit to track the card, monitor lines, compare books, and keep everything in one place. And when you download that Pikkit app, enter code OTH. When you set up your Pikkit account, you track it, share it, follow all the action with Pikkit. And that's going to be a wrap for tonight for Tee to Green. If you got value out of this, help us grow this thing the right way here. And again, all the official card for the Travelers Championship, that'll be posted on our X page at OTH Sports Pod before tee time start tomorrow. So again, if you got value out of this, help us grow this thing the right way. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with a friend. Every click helps building this community the right way. Follow us on X at OTH Sports Pod, breaking news, daily picks, our Pikkit play of the day every single day because we're back from vacation, so we'll be getting those every day. If you're not using Pikkit, come on, download the app, put in code OTH, set up your account. Look, it's what powers the show and how we track all the action. Make sure you're using Pikkit. And, we'll have fun with it. Track us there. Like I said, full Travelers Championship card will be posted late tonight, tomorrow morning, so you can track it there. Track us on Pikkit. Tommy Trends, my boys Mookie and Nash, they're already waiting by the door for a walk. And it's been Off the Hook, sports talk that pays off. Listen, remember, the sports books don't give refunds. So do your homework, shop your lines, and never stop looking for an edge. We're back here tomorrow, earlier, probably like 6-ish, maybe a little bit before. We'll go give you a round one update from TPC River Highlands, Travelers Championship. Good luck in your bets tonight. Let's cash some. And we'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Live update from TPC River Highlands. Good luck tonight. See you guys tomorrow. We're gone.